Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives. Let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me is my life partner in all things, Nina.
So, you are also a personal trainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when people look at you, they think you look healthy.
In most of the time. Yes, it's interesting. A lot of people, they look at your outer appearances and they judge you by the way you look on the outside without knowing what you might be facing on the inside.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people is mixing health and fitness,
Hmm.
which is really two things. I mean, I go for the six pack too, but your person just having six pack, it doesn't actually mean that they're healthy. In fact, a lot of people actually have chronic diseases. You just can't see it because they look like they're healthy.
Exactly. Our guest today, we were going to see our guest, but, he's talking about invisible conditions. And I thought we'll start off the show because, like, invisible conditions are things we don't see on the inside, where a lot of people may be hiding chronic conditions and you don't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are conditions that you can't hide. I mean, I grew up with eczema. I can't really
Hmm.
hide it. It's obvious. It's on my face. It's on my skin. You can always tell. But a lot of times when it's inside, you have heart problems or brain problems or whatnot, you just can't tell. You're just looking a normal person.
Exactly. A lot of people may be having chronic fatigue, heart, like you said, heart problems, people that have multiple brain injuries, or some of us that may have suffered a chronic traumatic, car accident that's broken the body. But, a lot of us, and it's like, even for me, I was like hiding it as best as I can. But, what I wanted to talk about is the impact of you trying to hide it and how that can, one, affect how you recover, but two, more important, is how it affects the people that your loved ones around you.
Well, I guess when you have a condition, I know that it makes you really cranky. For a long, long
I don't know
time,
what
you're
you're talking
very
about. I'm
cranky.
never cranky anymore.
You can barely see you smile in any of the pictures
Oh,
until you actually solve your chronic issues.
correct. And it's funny because during the time, I always told men, I was like, hey, I'm trying to look cool. This is my cool face. And I didn't even know that I was, in pain, and that I was trying to hide it by not smiling. Right. But it is interesting because I think a lot of these conditions, even like, we can talk all the way up to the big C. If you have big C, it is so much more important to have someone that you love, your family, your partner support you. Right. And, I wouldn't be where I am today if Minna didn't support me from my 20s into my early 40s. I think anyone else would have just, kicked me off to the curb and done her own thing. But in
I tried,
sickness
it
and
didn't
health,
work.
right? In sickness and health, they'll death do we part. And that changed my life in that aspect, but it also changed my life and how I see things, and really why we did this show. Because when you're suffering chronic condition, when you're sick, you can hide it, you can try to fight it yourself, but it really affects the ones, your loved ones around you. It's like I was seeing how I was changing Minna's quality of life. It was definitely not for the better.
Well, I guess when you have a chronic condition, it's not just about you, right?
Hmm.
You're, of course, you're suffering, so your psyche is that you're in the kind of sadness or anger mode.
Hmm.
But when you do that, it's also affecting other areas of your life. I mean,
Yes.
it definitely has an impact on your finances. On top of all those medical bills that you might be paying,
Hmm.
I'm sure that when you have a disease, you're not really doing your best work, in which case you're probably not making as much as you should.
Mm.
So that's one of the finance impacts. And of course,
Correct.
relationship wise, you're hurting the people around you. and the people that love you the most, those are the ones that you tend to yell at the most, right?
So
So
true.
that's what definitely hurting your relationship, and of course that's hurting everything in your life, and it's not just about you,
Mhm.
but it's also about your family.
Yeah, you hit a few topics there. A lot of people don't think about is the financial position, right? Because you are wiping out your finances when you are sick, right? And I think that's why it's really, really important to try to figure what you need to get you out of that sickness, to get you out, out of that health condition, right? And that's what our show is really all about, trying to help people reverse chronic conditions, trying to them to be not dependent on drugs, and trying for them to get into the happy place, right? Like I said, it could be happier with work, happier, better productivity, happier to be with your loved one, or maybe just happier to be yourself, right? I think that is such a big thing, because when you're suffering pain, it is very hard to be happy. I do, like you said, remember looking through all my pictures, I never smiled. I just never smiled. And it never occurred to me just because I was in pain and I just couldn't smile.
Well, you're not in the really bad cases, right? I mean, there are
Hmm.
cases when people actually need to be taken care of. Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're bedridden, then you actually have to have like a full-time person
Hmm.
taking care of you, to take you to the bathroom, to feed you, to just take care of you all day long, right? So you're actually being a burden to your family.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm hoping, we're just trying to get people to realize it all starts somewhere and it only gets worse if you don't take charge of your life. Right. And it's so much worse when it's an invisible condition, because you
Hmm.
figure you can hide it better, and maybe even your loved ones don't know about your condition. Right. But you need to tackle that on head on. But more importantly, I think you need to share your your health conditions with your loved ones so they can support you along the way too.
For sure, I think when you have condition, you have to actually come out, and you have to be open about it,
Hmm.
and you also have to believe that you can actually do something about it, right?
Definitely, definitely. And I think that was my problem, and a lot of people out there were looking for that silver bullet. We're looking, is this next treatment, this next drug, this next shot, whatever it may be. You're hoping that this next thing is the thing that turns your health around. Or more than likely, the more you get, the more things get worse, right? So rather than depending on someone to be in charge of your health, it's so much more important for you to do the research and get healthy yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worthwhile talking about how you can get used to the medication,
Hmm.
and eventually you outgrew the medication, right? So you go for something stronger,
Oh, yeah.
you go for something that's even more harmful to your health,
Hmm.
and eventually nothing's going to work, and you get to the point that you're just in pain or you're suffering, and there's nothing anyone can do at that point.
Yeah, and like you said, for each drug that gets stronger and stronger, not only do you get addicted to it, but it gets more and more expensive too.
For sure. And for instance, for in the case of diabetes,
Hmm.
you don't just have to take the medication. Eventually you need to take the shots, and then when that's not under control, you might have go through dialysis,
Oh,
or you
yeah.
lose a leg. That there's all sorts of complications that come with you not taking charge of your body, that I
Hmm.
think it's worthwhile for you to really just wake up and look at what impact your chronic condition has on not just you but your whole family.
I agree. I agree because, as you get older, especially as the way things are in the economy now, the dollar is very important where you're spending it, right? And you definitely don't want to be wiping it out as you get older, right? You want to be enjoying yourself as you get older, right? Not being bedridden. So, no, I think it's important to take charge of your health, take charge of your life. Um, Always be honest about your health with your partner, because they're living your life with them, right? And our guest today is really going to embody that. I was so excited that we're going to be talking with them today. And Jeff and Catherine's going to talk a little bit about their life and how they face their invisible conditions themselves, and it's very inspiring. We'll be with them right after a few short breaks.
All right, strap in, folks. We're about to take a joyride through the fountain of youth. It's Andy Nam from Chronically Healthy Life. Ever wonder why some folks seem to age like fine wine, while others are more like a moldy cheese that's been forgotten in the back of the fridge? It's like they got the energy of a Duracell bunny on Red Bull, while the rest of us are running on fumes. Now, you might think hitting the gym and munching on kale is the ticket to eternal youth, but sometimes it feels more like we're just speeding up the aging process. Picture this: you're on the treadmill, feeling like $1,000,000, and suddenly you look down and realize your knees sound like a bag of popcorn in the microwave. Not exactly the sound of youth, am I right? But fear not, my friends, because here's the kicker. It's not just about the number of candles on your birthday cake. It's all about those sneaky little stem cells playing hide and seek inside your body. At the age of 20, you got more of these bad boys than you can shake a stick at. But fast forward a few decades, and they're scarce as a parking spot in downtown Manhattan. But guess what? We got a secret weapon up our sleeves. Phototherapy patch technology without drugs. That's right, folks. With our stem cell activation patches, you can hit the rewind button on aging faster than you can say reverse aging. So if you're ready to reclaim your youth, look younger, feel stronger, and heal faster than a superhero with a side of espresso, then it's time to hop on board the rejuvenation train. Get your stem cell activation patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. And let's make aging look like yesterday's news. It's not anti-aging, it's reverse aging, baby.
Hey everyone, it's Andy from Chronically Healthy Life. We are coming close to the end of our Inflammo-geddon Bio-hacking series. Today, we're diving into the wacky world of the 5-day water fast. So 5 days water fast sounds a little crazy, right? Well, the battle begins on day 1. You're pumped, you're excited, you're ready to go, and you have to go out there and tell everyone that you're going to fast for 5 days. We recently did our 5-day water fast, and we shared our journey far and wide on social media. And it was crazy. We had people saying, okay, I'm going to join. And guess what? You know, if you're not sharing it out, no one knows you're doing it. There's no accountability. Who's even know you're actually fasting, right? So on the first day, basically, your body is riding whatever you had left in the last meal, being pizza, spaghetti, bread, pasta, right? You know, but as the day goes on, you start to feel a little lighter. Your body says, oh, we're doing this. Okay, let's dig in and let's see how much sugar we got stored in our body. But the real Hunger Games, it begins on day 2. Your stomach is like, hey, what's going on? What's happened to our deal of 3 square meals or snacks or dessert? And, you know, you really have to summon up that willpower like Yoda, right? To say, nope, not today. You know, I am going to stay firm, and I'm going to start wiping out inflammation. I'm going to start trying to burn fat for fuel. I need to stay on this, right? And this is when the magic starts to happen a little bit. Your body starts autophagy, and that basically means your body's just eating up all the bad cellular parts, just like a Pac-Man eats those, eat all those ghosts, right? On day 3, you wake up thinking, wow, did I get bitten by a radioactive spider? Because this is when your superpowers begin. Your body's starting to fight off inflammation a little bit better. And, you know, your body's in full repair mode at this point. You know, it's trying to fix what is broken. And it's like just a bunch of little construction workers going to work to clear out the garbage, making room for some new stuff to grow, right? And day 4, that is when Zen Master Day, right? That's usually when people start chilling out. Your mind start becoming clearer. You practically hear yourself saying, let it go, let it go. and I cannot sing that song, but it really is about releasing whatever inflammation is left inside your body, and you just start feeling a lot chiller, and nothing bothers you. It's like, wow, it's going to be a great day. And your body's starting to now burn ketones for fuel, or for those that don't understand ketones, it is now starting to burn fat for fuel, which is what we want to do, because our bodies are a hybrid machine, right? We want to be able to burn fat and fuel back and forth and change it back and forth. And since we burned all the sugar reserves, guess what? Now we're burning fat, which is awesome. And day 5, that is really when the magic happens. It's the grand finale. Congratulations, you reach the finish line. Your body becomes a stem cell factory. Your body's just flipped on the switch onto new stem cell production. Your body's like, you know what? Let's build some fresh new stem cells and get this party started. You're literally regenerating like a human starfish. And all that inflammation, it's gone, baby, gone. You're ready to conquer the world, or at least, probably a pretty large salad after this 5-day fast. So here you have it. 5 days of water, a lot of willpower, at least for the first 2-3 days, and the occasional grumbling stomach, which is good. You're letting it all go. But the rewards, they're so worth it. You're lowering inflammation. You're getting fresh stem cells. And you're going to have such a clearer mind. You actually might remember where you put your keys. Anyways, if you survive this 5 days without food, you can literally survive anything except maybe the smell of pizza on day 2. If you think a 5-day water fast is too ambitious to lower your inflammation and to create stem cells, don't miss our last episode, because on our last episode, we are going to show you the easy peasy way to lower inflammation, to do a 5-day detox, and more importantly, to start having your stem cells generating new stem cells and activating on the first day, not 5 days. And this is all continuing to eat like normal. Don't miss our last episode. We'll see you there.
Jeff Pearson here, host of Invisible Condition, where we talk about all the people who are living and thriving with all those conditions that you can't necessarily see from the outside. Join me every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time on E360 TV.
Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. Today, I have an amazing couple, and I actually met Jeff, and I was a guest on his show earlier. But I have an amazing couple today that really lives a chronically healthy life. Meet Jeff and Catherine Pearson, and they are not your average couple. Instead of a stereotypical married life of kids, careers, and family vacations that everyone seems to have, they found themselves in hospitals as Jeff underwent multiple surgeries over and over again for hydrocephalus, a condition causing fluid to build up in the brain, which sounds pretty dangerous, actually. And as both patient and caregiver, Jeff and Catherine had to navigate the fear and uncertainty of his conditions, working through countless consultations with healthcare providers, and handling, of course, the emotional and financial strain as a result of these mounting medical expenses. And despite their challenges, they lean into the experiences with unwavering resiliency and hope to make certain others going through similar issues will never have to do it alone. In 2023, they launched their E360 TV show, Invisible Condition, bringing awareness to the various conditions millions and millions of individuals live with every day that are unseen by the outside world, and helping them amplify their voices. They have also recently created the Invisible Condition University, ICU. I really love that. An online community providing a safe and welcoming space for individuals and caregivers affected by these medical conditions to provide resources, support, expert-led workshops, understanding, and a sense of belonging as they navigate their own personal journeys. Their message is one of hope, help, and reminding you that you're not alone. Jeff and Catherine currently reside in Colorado Springs with their 3 children, Elizabeth, Nick, and Cassia. Is that correct?
Kasha.
Kasha. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So close.
Welcome to the show, Jeff. Oh my God, just talking about your bio, it sounds like you led an amazing life so far, and now your vision is expanding to help a lot of others.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. I'm so glad to be here and to bring Catherine here, and we want to bring some hope to people, and that's the word we kind of live by every day, and so we want to get it out there.
For sure. I have never heard of hydrocephalus. So can you tell the viewers a little bit more about that, and the challenges that people don't even know about, because like maybe some other people are suffering and you don't even know about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have it, you probably know about it, but it's not one of those mystery conditions where it sneaks up on you. It's pretty obvious when you need to have treatment. But I personally, my case, I started off with this condition at 2 weeks old. That was when I was diagnosed originally. Wow. It was 2 weeks old, and the doctor just did the head measurement like they do, at birth, and it was just a little bit off. So they said, it's probably nothing, but let's get a CAT scan. And of course, it was something. Commonly, which is what happened with me, is people with hydrocephalus have a ventricle that is blocked and not allowing fluid to flow freely. And so, little anatomy in a lesson here. Your brain has little canals built into it called ventricles. They're up here, and your brain is continuously producing cerebral spinal fluid. Mm-hmm. Produces about a quart a day. It never stops, and it produces it, cushions your brain against your skull, drains down those ventricles down your spinal column, reabsorbs into the body. It's just a continuous process. Those with hydrocephalus, that process is interrupted because, like for instance, in my case, one of those ventricles was blocked, and so the fluid couldn't leave as fast as it needed to keep me healthy. So my skull started to literally swell in size because the fluid had nowhere to go. It's got nowhere to go. And so when they did that measurement at the 2-week checkup, they said, nah, it's a little outside the norm. So they did a CAT scan, found out that ventricle was blocked, and the remedy for that was brain surgery. So my first brain surgery was at 2 weeks old.
Wow. And it sounds like you had multiple brain surgeries through your life. Like,
yeah, because with hydrocephalus, it's almost never one and done. Because the device, so when they find out that the fluid isn't flowing the way it's supposed to, they install what's called a shunt, and it goes, there's a tube that goes through a hole they drill in your skull, and then there's a pump called a shunt that's attached to it, which is right back here behind my right ear. And then there's a tube that attaches to that kind of reroutes the fluid somewhere else in the body to reabsorb, kind of like an artificial ventricle. And so the problem is those shunts have a really high failure rate. And so on average, people with hydrocephalus are having brain surgery every 2 to 3 years to replace this stuff. And I have escaped with only 7 in 47 years. So I am ahead of the curve, but it's still 7 brain surgeries, but it could be a lot more. And so that's the reason for the repeated surgery, though. The device actually malfunctions, and then you have to replace it. So.
Well, here's the question that I'm thinking in my head, and I'm sure a lot of viewers are thinking about it too. Like, when we talk about living a chronically healthy life, one of the things that's very important is, the F for family and relationships. And obviously you're married and you have 3 children. Yes. Did Catherine know about your condition before she married you?
Yes,
I would love to hear a little bit on Catherine's side. Did she know what she was getting herself into? Because this sounds like a lifelong condition, right?
Yeah. So I did. I did realize that he had some kind of condition. We met actually in middle school. We met in middle school. We were dated off and on. We were friends through middle school, high school, into college. And during that time frame, I did not see that hydrocephalus impacted him that much. Now, he will tell a story about his junior and senior year of high school. He did suffer with headaches and migraines a lot. But I guess maybe I was too self-absorbed being a high schooler.
In high school? No, come on.
But I didn't fully see that or really understand the implications. And so he did have a surgery at 18, and I kind of watched him go through that process. But after that, he was good. He seemed pretty good. So, and we got married at 22, just a few years later. So there wasn't a ton of time for, I mean, we'd known each other a long time, but in that time frame, there weren't a lot of experiences that would tell me that there were a chunk of 10 years that was coming that would be full of surgeries every few years. So, so I kind of knew, but I didn't fully know. So I just knew that he made me laugh, and so I wanted to hang out with him.
I love that. I love that. Sense of humor got you early. You know,
right?
Sounds like there's a story there, Jeff. Why don't you give us a little short rundown? What happened from high school through college? It sounds like there's a little share there.
So we met in 7th grade band class, but it was toward the end of the year because I played the clarinet, she played the flute. And if anybody knows anything about the layout of a band room, the clarinets are on one side and then it curves around and then the flutes are on directly across from the clarinets.
Okay.
And so I played the clarinet, she played the flute. So I got to stare at her the whole time during class. I was sort of looking at my music and stuff, whatever. But I mean, really, come on. I saw a cute girl across the room I wanted to meet. So I was, but I was so nervous that I didn't even introduce myself. I don't even know how we met. I have no idea the day we met or how it happened. I don't even know.
It was in an entirely different class, actually.
It was. Actually, you're right. It was in life science. So I don't even, so it took me almost the whole first year of junior high to even work up the nerve to even say anything to this beautiful girl. And so finally we met, and you saw me and a buddy of mine sliding across the back of the room in these funky chairs we had in the science room. And she thought it was the funniest thing. So that's how I caught her eye. Apparently I was funny. Yeah. So there you go.
It's fun.
But anyway, hey, whatever works, So.
I love that story because, I think when it comes to, health conditions, having that support is so important, and you guys obviously got married and had children, which is amazing. So you guys were looking into the future, and you guys have an amazing TV show called Invisible Conditions on E360 TV. Can you give our viewers a little bit more what that means? Because that name is so intriguing to me, like invisible, what's this all about?
Yeah. So Invisible Condition is our TV show, and we are on E3. We're on the Achieve TV channel on E360 TV, and we're on every Tuesday and every Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time with a new show twice a week. And, the idea behind the show was to bring on amazing guests that are living and yet thriving despite some sort of medical condition that you can't see from the outside, because that's what I was born with. You would never watch me walking down the street and go, obviously this is what he has by his appearance. I can tell he has no, you can't pinpoint hydrocephalus by appearance usually. So it's invisible condition, and the tagline is it's not all in your head, because I mean, with a lot of conditions, you can start to wonder if you're just being a hypochondriac or if it's actually real, especially depending on the input you get from your friends, family, and the medical community. It can really make you question, am I really feeling this, or is it in my head? And so that's the type of guest I love to have on, is the ones that are living and yet doing something awesome in spite of having some sort of invisible condition, not just hydrocephalus. We've covered so many over the last 18 months being on the air. So it's pretty awesome. And then also organizations that are out there from around the world that are helping those invisible condition folks live better lives and do awesome things. So.
You know, it's funny because your tagline is not in your head. It's not all in your head, right?
Yeah.
But in your case, it is.
It kind of is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not lost on the irony there. Yeah. It kind of is. It's like, if this wasn't in my head, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So yeah, for me, it kind of is, but for most of them, it's not. Yeah.
So is this a vision that both of you share together to try to educate people, you know, and get people more aware? Because like you said, you know, I think a lot of people that have invisible conditions, they might try to hide it. And in which case they're really affecting their lives too, because they feel they're inferior, right? Or they feel that maybe I'm going to be too much burden on meeting someone. And obviously I'm looking at you two, you guys are like, I was going to say high school sweethearts, but actually you guys are like, you know, middle school sweethearts, which is pretty crazy, right? And that there's some commitment there, and that support, that relationship, it's really important. And I think that, you know, a lot of people out there that's suffering a chronic condition, and especially invisible chronic condition, which makes it much more worse and makes them feel like they may be like frowned upon, right? So like, how do you make, you know, first of all, how do you make your guests more comfortable? And two, like, how do you get that mission out there to educate people, to inspire them to come out of their shell and share their invisible conditions?
I mean, I've always been kind of a talker. I know that's a shock, but I've kind of always been the conversational guy. I kind of most of the time live by the 10-10 rule, which is, if you've been within 10 feet of me for 10 seconds or more, I'm going to introduce myself and we're going to have a conversation. And I'm probably going to get your life history before we get through that grocery line or wherever we are. And so I've always kind of been that guy. And so I have, apparently, God has built into me a very natural way of talking to people and making them feel comfortable telling me things. I mean, I've had people tell me all kinds of crazy stuff that some of it was a little more than I really wanted to know, but they were comfortable. They're like, I don't know if this is getting too personal. When they say that, you know, you're in for a doozy. And then they just say it, they just spit it out. So I think when they feel that comfortable in a preliminary conversation over Zoom, they're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get the story out. And they have no problem on camera during the show. So
that's, as an example, he's had plenty of female guests that are talking about female conditions that are invisible.
Right.
And so he's been very gracious to let them just share all of that, female stuff that's going on. And I think it does really resonate with the audience. So it's been good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you say about that, Catherine, you know, that vulnerability and also recognizing those problems, right? And Jeff, I got to give you credit for the females come on there and being vulnerable and you just trying to just having a straight face. That's amazing. It's not easy. I got to say, it isn't.
Sometimes they're harder than others to hide the shock on your face when they tell you something that you did not expect to hear. But yeah, some of these, we've talked about some really dicey, really crazy situations on the show sometimes, but it just comes out organically in conversation. I mean, what am I going to do? You know? So I don't want to, I can't tell my face, because otherwise people will know that I've never heard that before and I'm freaking out. So nobody needs the host to be freaking out over somebody talking about, whatever it is. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches and know something crazy's coming,
That's awesome. So, on our contact information, we got your TV channel, obviously, and, the QR codes for those for the Invisible Condition University. Can you tell me a little bit more how that came about from this whole TV show? Because from my understanding, this is your next brainchild for the two of you, right?
This is our next thing. Yeah, we are so excited about this. We had this thought. I mean, we've been knocking this thought around for a couple of years, but we never really figured out how to put it into, practice
Mhm.
until we met with a couple very brilliant people that kind of took us under their wing and was like, here, I'll do this over here, you do this over here, and all together we'll come up with this amazing idea and we'll implement it and everything will be awesome. So basically, Invisible Condition University, to be perfectly candid, is something that I really wish had been around about 10 years ago.
Mhm.
At the beginning, all of this crazy surgery stuff that we've gone through. Every time I had surgery, Catherine and our kids, and sometimes my parents, sometimes her parents, I mean, all the family were basically left on their own without anybody else to help. Because once you leave the hospital, I'm very thankful for the hospital, very thankful for talented neurosurgeons and nurses and anesthesiologists and all the things. But once you leave the hospital, they forget your name. They don't, they are not going to walk with you beyond that usually.
Correct.
And so that's why Catherine and I created ICU, or Invisible Condition University. Don't worry, we knew it would sound like that. We kind of wanted to break the stigma of ICU, right? You hear ICU and go, oh, I'm so sorry. No. ICU in this case is a good thing. So we wanted to provide a place where other people just like us could find community that listens and cares and walks with you no matter what you're going through, whether you're going into surgery, you just came out of surgery, you're just getting diagnosed. So we meet on Zoom twice a month, every other Tuesday, basically, for an hour, and just provide a safe place for patients and their caregivers to ask questions, vent frustrations, because there's a few of those related to the medical community. Correct. I know, shocker, right? And find information not provided by a lot of the medical community. So if anybody wants to learn more about that, I believe that's where that QR code's going.
Yes.
Right. So scan the QR code or invisibleconditionuniversity.com. And if you go to, we didn't give them this one. Oh, shoot. Okay. We didn't give you this one, but it's myfreegiftfromjeff.com. If you go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com, and it's JEFF.
Okay.
myfreegiftfromjeff.com, you'll get the first 30 days of your membership for free. It's inexpensive. If you go to Starbucks a couple times a month, you've paid as much as you would for the membership, but we want to give you the first month for free to try it out. So,
wow, that's amazing. So from my understanding, just to recap, it's going to be 2 meetings on Zoom a month.
Yes.
And these are live meetings, then, like people will be logging in once. Okay. And the support, is it just from everyone that goes in there, or are you going to have other people that's going to provide them support too?
I would love to, that is part of our vision for this, is to have people that have been down that road, or that is a provider that could speak to, a certain therapy or something that, maybe could help people with different conditions. Over that last year and a half with the show, that is what we have been unwittingly accumulating, is this enormous resource list of people and places and organizations to help people with these invisible conditions. And so we want to share that. Correct. And we also want to, I think we're talking about having people from some of those organizations come on with us, right?
Yeah, I think having, if we call them guest speakers, I think having guest speakers come and join us, like you said, share their expertise, share their knowledge, their understanding, give tips, resources, encouragement, a different perspective maybe from what the medical community is providing. That's exactly the space that we want to be in, is providing that support system that is alongside you after you're out of the hospital or after a diagnosis. Correct. So, yeah.
And most importantly, to sit there with you and sometimes cry and sometimes be there, be that voice, that person that listens. I just think back to when my parents, my first brain surgery was at 2 weeks old, man. Yeah. I can't even, we've got 3 kids. I couldn't imagine. Our son did have to have an emergency surgery at 1 month old, but it wasn't nearly as, I mean, it looked serious to us because we didn't know what it was. It was something very common, it turned out. But when you're in that situation, you are terrified as a parent. And so to have somewhere to go when you're hearing all this crazy stuff from the medical community and be able to talk to somebody who's been there and go, all right, what's the real deal here? You know? And so, you know, we're there. We're there to help you. So.
I love that. You know, it's funny. Recently, my wife and I, we've been binge watching Grey's Anatomy.
Nice.
And we're on the season 19. We're almost finished. At some point, you know, we're not really liking. I'm not going to get into details about that, but you know,
don't spoil it. Come on.
Yeah, but basically, you know, all I know now watching this is I never want to get stuck in emergency surgery for whatever reason. Right. So I can totally understand from your standpoint going through when you're in surgery, coming out. Like, what is the recovery of the protocol once they let you out, right? You know, because as far as they know, you're not at risk of death, and you're done, right?
I mean, if you wake up from surgery and all your bodily functions are working, you're good.
Good to go.
You know, see you later. We'll send you a bill, or several bills, probably. More likely a stack of them. So, but yeah, it's varied widely. I mean, I've had visits of 3 weeks in the hospital for related to this. And I've had, the last one I had in October of 2021, the last brain surgery. We drove in the hospital at like 10 a.m. one day, and the surgery was at like 2 or 3. And then by 2 or 3, I think it was like 3 o'clock the next day, Catherine had picked me up when we were driving away from the hospital. I mean, 24-hour turnaround from neurosurgery, you know.
Neurosurgery, wow.
I know. It's unbelievable. So it just depends on how well you recover, and you know, it's so different every time. It's crazy.
But then, so they send him home, and then what? Right? And then there's migraines, and then there's the last one, he ended up with muscle spasms that were unexplained and uncontrollable. And so where is the community that's supporting those time frames?
Right.
Correct.
Then what? Yeah.
So that's that.
So we have had to go seek out those things that have helped me. I mean, those migraines that I got in 2014, we found a couple things that got rid of them for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Amazing. We found things that got rid of some of those tics that were going on, the jerking stuff from the last one. We have done the hard work of finding all these. And I know a lot of people have others that they've found too, and that's awesome. And I'd love to hear about it. But share it out, man. Somebody else could benefit from it too. But that's why we want to share, because we don't want anybody else to have to do all that hard work if they don't have to. Learn from our experience. You know, so
no, I love that, because like if people are suffering and joining your Invisible Condition University, not only doing getting the support group, but it's also building it out where you can help more and more people with different invisible conditions too.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
so, I know you guys have a website, Hydro with Hope. What's that about? Because I do want to dive that a little bit into there, because like I said, you know, hydrocephalus is totally new to me when I spoke to you.
Yeah.
And you obviously have, with the website name, you have a mission there too to help people with hydrocephalus. You know, what's your mission there?
So that is, there are a lot of amazing organizations out there that are doing wonderful things, like research into, finding better ways to produce these shunts so that they don't have such a high failure rate, or research into techniques in surgery, whatever. That wasn't me. That's not my bag. I'm the guy that's going to sit there and listen and talk and talk you through it, and want to provide immediate resources for the immediate situation you're in right now today when you find out your surgery is happening or something. So we created, we actually created our most valuable resource we have right now from Hydro with Hope is this book right here called My Hydro Warrior Story. Oh, it's a journal. It's a fill in the blank journal. It's about 150 pages, and it is there to, information, emotional download. There's places for like medical record keeping. There's stuff like prompts like, hey, what'd your crazy surgery hair look like after you woke up? Or show us your gnarly scar from surgery, or kind of make it fun too. What'd your hospital room look like? All that kind of stuff, kind of take your mind off the seriousness of what the heck is going on. And so, yeah, and then ICU kind of was a thought after that, but we just didn't know what form it was going to take until recently. So Hydro with Hope is kind of where all this started. The TV show and the community and everything started with Hydro with Hope. So
that is amazing. That is amazing. I do have one question. For hydrocephalus, it's not hereditary, right?
No. Believe me, we were a little worried when our oldest daughter is almost 21 now, but when she was born, we were a little bit panicked. We were like, oh no. So we did all the testing and all that stuff, but no, it is not hereditary. It is a fluke. It is a fluke that happens a lot. I mean, in fact, by the time we get done here, 2 people will have undergone brain surgery to treat hydrocephalus. In the US, every 15 minutes, somebody's undergoing surgery to treat this. So it is very common, but not a lot of people know about it. So that's why we're here.
Wow, that's amazing. So it started with your brain surgeries and meeting together. It shows obviously you can live with this and live very well, obviously, have a family and everything. And, I think it's really amazing that you guys came together as a couple and came up with a TV show. Like doing a TV show is a lot of work. From my understanding, you're always trying to find people to inspire others on your TV show. Why don't you give us a quick shout of what you're looking for so, we can get others to share their story.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody that's got a story that they want to share, some people just want to tell their story, and that's awesome. Some people say, I've lived with this condition. I've had a bunch of surgeries, but check out what I'm doing. I wrote a book. I started an organization. I launched an app. I'm a speaker. Whatever. They want to get the word out about their journey, and they want to be on a TV show to do it. I'm all ears. And then any organization that's doing awesome work in that arena, I'd love to talk to them as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So that invisible condition at e360tv.com is where you can reach out and chat about being a potential guest.
Yep. Get on the calendar and we'll do it.
That's great. And what was the, for your Invisible Condition University, what was your free 1 month giveaway code there to give them?
Just go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com.
Okay.
myfreegiftfromjeff.com. And it'll bring you to a page, and you just fill out a little bit of information, and you've got the first month for free, and we'll see you on the next call.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jeff and Catherine, for being a guest for our show. It is so amazing. I am always so impressed when I see people sharing more about their lives, because most people are, they hide in their little shell. They don't want people to know about it. But here you are, you're broadcasting your condition, and you're inspiring so many others to do it too. And to me, that is just an amazing mission. I am looking forward to talking to you more in the future, and maybe even checking out, being part of your Invisible Condition University. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. But we'll definitely talk soon. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy.
Hey, everybody. I wanted to share that I'm just kind of coming off of a really bad flu. You can probably tell by my face that I haven't been feeling that great. And it kind of occurred to me how much I listen to my body when I'm not feeling well, and how I tend to ignore it when I feel good. So I was very much having a lot of nausea problems, but I made myself drink peppermint tea, which settles my stomach down and hydrates without caffeine, which dehydrates, and kept me hydrated through the drama of the flu, when it's a time when you can get really dehydrated and make everything worse. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. And when you have your kids, they will tell you if they don't want to eat or drink something, but try to give them something that will help their bodies heal without, pushing it down. Digestive rest is perfectly okay when you're fighting a bug. It helps your body heal. But water and things like herbal teas can really, really help you get over it faster without aggravating the situation. So if you're dealing with kids that, school's coming back, and with that usually comes the flu. So it does help, and good luck. I feel for you. Ciao for now.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy later years with energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies show signs of things just aren't the same as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing recovery time, and sleep all go downhill. If you had physical trauma that happened to your body like I did, this happens much faster. I felt like a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. But do you remember as kids the boundless energy we had, how fast we recovered? This is not because of getting old, but because of active stem cells inside our bodies. These are the cells that can generate and regenerate all the cells and structures in the human body. They are the building blocks of our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an innate repair system everywhere inside the body. But as we get older, stem cell activity slows down, become less effective in repairing damage, and decline. By the age of 20, we only have 1 billion stem cells left. By 30, they decline by 60%. By 50, they decline by 75%. 60 by 9%. And by 80, we're lucky to have 50 million active stem cells. But what if we can naturally stimulate our bodies to reactivate and regenerate new stem cells through phototherapy without drugs? Now we can with our LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patches. Reclaim your youth and look younger, feel stronger, perform better, and heal faster. Get your patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. It's not anti-aging, it is reverse aging.
Hello, we are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. I love Jeff and Catherine, their passion from suffering a chronic condition for Jeff and coming together and putting a TV show to inspire others. And now they're putting ICU University to support people that is suffering invisible conditions themselves. So kudos to them. Love their mission. Love everything they're doing.
And who do we have next week?
So next week, we have Brenda Ringwood. She's a returning guest from Becoming the Better You. It's going to be a great episode as we share a vision for Becoming Better You. And then we're also going to be having a little announcement next week, too, of something that's going to be cool and new coming up for the fall season.
Okay, so join us back here on Fridays at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network, on our YouTube channel at Chronically Healthy Life. And if you'd like to know more about what we do and how we can help you live a chronically healthy life, visit us on chronicallyhealthylife.com.
Also, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions about our show, you can comment on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life, or email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com. We'll see you next week.